A bombshell new report from the House Judiciary Committee outlines some shocking allegations about the 2017 congressional baseball shooting during which Steve Scalise nearly lost his life. Now, according to the report, the FBI butchered the probe into the shooting, downplayed the anti-Republican motives of the shooter, and instead shockingly classifying it as a suicide by cop attempt, a notion that Steve Scalise, understandably, has now taken great offense to, and who can blame him? House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan joins us now, along with House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, this is personal for you. I want to get to you in a second. Jim Jordan first, what did we discover? And is the reason they flat out lied to us, was it done for political reasons because they didn't want to make the Democrats look bad?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Sean, the guy who shoots Steve has a piece of paper in his pocket, a hit list with the names and descriptions of 6 other members of Congress. He's not a domestic terrorist, but pro-life Catholics are. That was the mindset at the FBI before Kash Patel. That was their mindset. And so they have to label this something different because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the right-wing MAGA hillbillies in flyover country. They're the domestic terrorists. And so they label it something else. And it was complete BS. Never forget the disdain that they have for regular Americans. Remember Peter Strzok? That text message he sends to Lisa Page where he says, I'm in the Walmart and I can smell the Trump supporters. So that's what the information we finally get because Kash Patel released the entire case file and we could look at it all. The Intel Committee could look at it all and they did great work exposing the ridiculous stuff that Andy McCabe, Jim Comey, and Chris Wray, how they ran the FBI. And what a difference now with Kash Patel running that place.
This has got to be personal for you, Steve. I mean, to this day, you still suffer the effects of that shooting. I know you've healed considerably, a lot of rehab. You're lucky to be here today in many ways. And now you find out you were lied to at a very high level. What's your reaction?
Well, Sean, you know, God answered a lot of prayers that day, but when the FBI initially pulled those of us from the baseball shooting into a hearing after we got out of the hospital, they called it suicide by cop. And we were so offended, we walked out of the hearing. We said, how can you call that suicide by cop when he tried to kill the 2 cops that were with me that day? David Bailey and Crystal Griner were both shot during the shootout, and the shooter tried to kill all of us that day, and it was politically motivated, and yet in their report, they said it wasn't politically motivated, and in fact, they withheld facts that the shooter had on his person that showed that he had political motivations to then say falsely that it wasn't politically motivated. You know, this begs the question, why was the FBI trying to mislead back in 2017? I applaud Kash Patel for getting the facts out and getting the record corrected, but the FBI in 2017 falsely put out information. Look, Jim Jordan's name was on that shooter's hit list too. And he had very dire intentions to kill Republicans. That's what he said he wanted to do. It wasn't suicide by cop, and yet the report by the FBI initially tried to claim it was. It was false.
Will the lies, Jim Jordan, and the people that politicized and weaponized the FBI, these people ever going to be held accountable, or will they just get away with it all?
Well, let's hope they don't get away with it. I think just the fact that we're exposing the truth, and God bless Steve for what he endured. God bless those Capitol Hill police who came to the rescue that day. But that time frame from 17 all the way until now, what the FBI did. I mean, think about all the things we saw, Sean. This guy wasn't a domestic terrorist, but moms and dads at school board meetings need to be investigated. Pro-life Catholics are domestic violent extremists. That's the term the FBI used. I mean, it's just they raided President Trump's home. On and on you could go. So I think just now telling it the country how bad it was and thanking the good Lord that we now also have someone running the Justice Department, running the FBI, who understands how that organization is supposed to operate.
Was it a matter of policy that they just lied to us, Steve?
Well, they lied to us deliberately, and again, they not only lied, they withheld information. I read the report over the weekend that they leaked out and they finally showed the country. There were things in that report I had never seen, not even in 2017, that were deliberately withheld by the FBI. Again, Kash Patel finally got it out there so the public can see what really happened. They should have done that in 2017. Those people need to be held accountable, Sean.
Yeah, they definitely do. And by the way, we're glad you made it through. It was touch and go there. I remember at the time getting calls saying that you were right there on death's door by a number of people, and it turned out you were.
God performed
thank God you
miracles that day,
survived it.
Sean.
Amen. All right, we're glad you're with us. Even if it's just to bother Jim Jordan as much as possible. That's okay. Teasing, obviously.